Russian President Vladimir Putin has openly rejected Western efforts to create a reassurance force in Ukraine, warning that any foreign soldiers deployed there would become legitimate targets for Russia's military. His comments came a day after 26 countries, led by France and Britain, pledged at a Paris summit to provide a multinational security presence the moment a ceasefire takes hold. French President Emmanuel Macron described the plan as a coordinated pledge to deploy troops by land, sea, or air in order to guarantee Ukraine's security and deter further Russian aggression. He emphasized that the force would not serve as a combat army against Russia, but instead act as a stabilizing presence to prevent renewed large-scale hostilities. Macron insisted the purpose was defensive, though he did not reveal which nations would send forces or the scale of deployment. Putin quickly dismissed the initiative. Speaking at the Eastern Economic Forum in Vladivostok, he said any Western soldiers in Ukraine, especially now during military operations, would be targeted by Russian forces. He stressed that if a peace agreement were ever reached, the presence of international troops would only complicate the path to long-term stability. Kremlin spokesperson Dmitry Peskov echoed his warning, calling the Paris plan unacceptable and a direct threat to Russia's security. The Paris meeting was presented by allies as the first concrete step toward lasting security guarantees for Ukraine after more than 3 years of war. President Volodymyr Zelensky welcomed the outcome, describing it as the first serious and practical measure toward ensuring Ukraine's safety once fighting stops. Yet uncertainties remain. The United States, considered essential to the credibility of any such security framework, has not made clear what role it will play. President Donald Trump has promised ongoing material and defensive support, but ruled out sending American troops. Western leaders argued that Russia cannot dictate decisions on troop deployments, with NATO chief Mark Rutte stressing that Ukraine, as a sovereign country, has the right to decide its own security arrangements.
NATO, we are sovereign nations. Ukraine is a sovereign nation. If Ukraine wants to have security guarantee forces in Ukraine to support the peace deal, it's up to them. Nobody else can decide about it. And I think we really have to stop making Putin too powerful. He is the governor of Texas, not more. So let's not take it too serious.
German Chancellor Friedrich Merz and UK Prime Minister Keir Starmer both underscored that the immediate priority is to secure a ceasefire, while also guaranteeing that Ukraine will not remain vulnerable to future attacks. Starmer went further, describing the Western commitment as an unbreakable pledge to pressure Russia into ending the war. The backdrop to these tense exchanges is the war's staggering toll: tens of thousands killed, millions displaced, and vast destruction across eastern and southern Ukraine. Putin, who recently showcased close ties with China's Xi Jinping and North Korea's Kim Jong-un, maintains that Russian forces are advancing on all fronts. Western governments, however, suspect Moscow is dragging out negotiations in an effort to seize more territory before any talks take place. The coalition of the willing, emerging from the Paris summit, has avoided releasing precise details on how many troops would take part or what countries would contribute. Diplomats admit that committing forces before a peace deal is finalized risks fueling Moscow's propaganda, yet they argue that failing to prepare credible security guarantees could embolden Russia further. For now, Putin insists that foreign soldiers in Ukraine would undermine peace rather than secure it. Western leaders continue to frame their plan as a necessary shield to protect Kyiv from future assaults. The sharp divide between Moscow's threats and the Allies' promises highlights just how difficult it will be to reach any agreement that both sides will accept. That's all for now from Global Pulse Unplugged. Stay sharp, stay informed, and we'll see you next time.